Is the head of elections program, YIAGA Africa, Paul James. Thank you for joining us on TVC News at 7. Well, the Electoral Act is clear. Whoever would emerge president of Nigeria must have scored at least 1/4 of the votes cast in at least 2/3 of the 36 states. That's like 24 states out of 36. But then we know that after the elections, the PDP and Labour Party have been at the tribunal, seeking some relief. Talk to us about your take on this development.
Thank you. Good evening, and thanks for the invitation. So I think INEC has put us in this logjam, and it is unfortunate that we have to deal with these issues as they were. This conversation wouldn't have been coming up if INEC had done what is expected by the people. What the parties are challenging, it's not necessarily even just the outcome, but even the processes leading to the outcome. I will agree with the submission by the INEC, our INEC lawyers, that the other parties may not have won the constitutional requirements for them to have been declared. But what these parties are also saying is that if the process had been allowed to be conducted the way it should have been conducted, perhaps they could have pulled some votes in places that they thought they got the votes. And so their prayer to the election petition was to go back and look at some of those votes that they thought, if those would be recounted, perhaps it will help also their chances of claiming whatever they wanted to claim. And it is unfortunate that we had put also INEC had put itself in this position that it has to go defensive. Me, I even worry for the future of our elections, that if INEC will continue to be a party to petitions like this, it, of course, will be affecting the way and manner the Commission will also be conducting elections going forward. But having said that, I think the bone of the meat of the conversation here is of the fact that if you look at the other parties, what they are contesting is, for all of them, they got the outright votes in 12 states. For the APC, for the PDP, and for the Labour Party, outright votes in like 12 states each. And then the APC is the second runner-up in most of the states. So by that, of course, the Commission will say APC is in the lead, and of course, they want to declare APC. But other parties, like I said, are saying if we can go back and review some of the processes or even some of the outcome, maybe it will better their chances. For instance, for the Labour Party at YIAGA Africa, what we saw was that at the end of the election in Rivers State and states like Imo, we thought the votes for the Labour Party were given to the APC. The votes for the APC were given to the Labour Party, also similar with what we saw in Imo State. So perhaps are
you basing that, Mr. James, are you basing that on what is on the IRF portal, or what is the source of that information now?
So for us at YIAGA Africa, what we did was we deployed observers to the polling unit level. And at the polling unit level, what we saw in Imo State was different from what INEC posted at the IRF. Some of them were different.
Did you have agents in all of the polling units in those states you mentioned?
We did sample, and so, I mean, if you extrapolate also based on samples, so from the representative random sample that we did in across the Federation, and for the two states, we paid particular interest because when the results from Rivers State were announced, we decided to go on the IRF to check some of the submissions that were done on the IRF. And we, of course, thought that some of these results were mutilated. Over half of the ones that we compared with our own results, we saw some of them had problems, which also prompted us to look further. So looking further, we realized that some of these were actually altered. The results were altered for the two states. It was in our statement for the presidential election. We're very clear about those other two states. But that is also beyond, it's also beyond those conversations. Some of the parties are even talking about things that relate to constitutional issues, things about on what basis will the APC be declared, for instance, without resolving the logjam of the 25% argument, for instance. So this has different phases. You could look at the technical issues and all of that, but I think what the parties are saying is that the court doesn't have to look at the technical issues, but look at the other issues surrounding the constitutional issues and all of that. But the point is, I don't think we all at this point should be preempting INEC, or we should be preempting the court. the parties are all in the court. INEC is all in the court. It is left for the court to make the judgment to whatever the court feels should have been. Should be the outcome.
Indeed, Mr. James,
from the court.
The matter is now at the tribunal, but then there are calls on the streets, for an interim government. And what do you make of that?
Well, I think at the moment, I wouldn't know from what quarters those calls are coming from. I could also understand the agitation or the concern, especially, like I will keep saying, these are also connected to the process issue of what happened from the election.
But should that be encouraged in any way?
No, it shouldn't be encouraged in any way. And like I said, this matter is before the court. We should allow the court at this moment to do what is right by the court and also what is acceptable by the people.
Head of Elections Program, YIAGA Africa, Paul James, thank you for talking to us on TVC News at 7.